When Xiaomi invited us to highlight the features of the 11T Pro, a lot of you had already reached out to check out the differences between the OnePlus 9RT and the 11T Pro. At the outset, the phones are quite similar, but they do vary a certain bit in features, and the phones can be set apart with these features. The OnePlus 9RT has a 4500 mAh battery and supports 65 watt of charging, which means that this phone can charge up to 100% in just 29 minutes, which is really fast. The Xiaomi 11T Pro, on the other hand, has a 5000 mAh battery that supports 120 watts of fast charging. This is comparable to certain laptops of the Pro grade, and this charging speed can charge the 11T Pro to 100% in just around 17 minutes. This is blazing fast. Another thing that is different but looks quite similar from the outset are the displays. Both these phones have AMOLED displays with 120 Hz of refresh rate, and both the screen sizes are also quite similar. There's a slight difference. The OnePlus 9RT has a 6.62-inch display, whereas the Xiaomi 11T Pro has a 6.67-inch display. Like I said, both these phones have a 120 Hz of refresh rate, and the OnePlus 9RT does have an overclocked touch response rate of about 600 Hz, which means that you will get faster touch response in comparison to the 450 Hz on the Xiaomi 11T Pro. But there are certain other things on the Xiaomi 11T Pro that do set it apart as well. For example, the Xiaomi 11T Pro has a true 10-bit panel that also is Dolby Vision certified, and the display on the Xiaomi 11T Pro has Corning Gorilla Glass Victus, which in comparison to the Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on the OnePlus 9RT is rated for higher drop resistance. The display on the Xiaomi 11T Pro has also been tuned really well and has received 14 DisplayMate A+ awards for a wide variety of things. This does set apart the display, and the display on the Xiaomi 11T Pro does get an up in this regard. Now, both the OnePlus 9RT and the Xiaomi 11T Pro have dual stereo speakers, but the interesting part is the OnePlus 9RT uses the earpiece as the secondary speaker. So you do have a big little format for the speaker, but in the case of the Xiaomi 11T Pro, you do have dual same size speakers, which means that you have symmetrical speakers for the stereo sound. These speakers are also designed by Harman Kardon and also tuned by them. And while both of these phones do support Dolby Atmos, the Xiaomi 11T Pro also has the added advantage of supporting high-res audio. Now, both the phones have the same chipset on the inside, so you get a Qualcomm Snapdragon 888, which is last year's flagship, which is still a really powerful chipset. And both these phones do perform well with respect to gaming as well as performance. If you look at the benchmark result, the Xiaomi 11T Pro does edge over the OnePlus 9RT a little bit as far as performance is concerned. The single core, the multi-core, as well as the GPU performance is a tad bit more than the OnePlus 9RT, even though the OnePlus 9RT is designed more for gaming. You see that benchmark scores and performance overall has been better on the 11T Pro. There's also a difference with respect to cellular connectivity. Even though India doesn't have 5G right now, and we don't know when the official rollout will begin, the OnePlus 9RT supports 8 5G bands, whereas the Xiaomi 11T Pro does support 13 5G bands. So if this is something that you want to consider while buying a phone today, you want something that is future-proof, where you want to ensure that your phone will work with 5G whenever 5G does become available, Xiaomi has more 5G bands, which means that any band that may be finalized for India will be available on this device, making it also easier to travel with this phone because it will support 5G all over the world. Now, there's also a quite bit of a difference as far as cameras are concerned. Now, megapixel is not a rating that we would like to go by, but if you care about megapixels, then the megapixels of the cameras are actually quite different. The one camera that does stand out in both of these is actually the macro camera, where the OnePlus 9RT has a completely unusable 2 megapixel macro camera, something that I think that companies should stop using. The Xiaomi 11T Pro, on the other hand, has a 5 megapixel macro camera, which also doubles up as a tele camera. A much more usable megapixel range, especially if you're going to be only sharing on social media and things like that. The macro shots from this can be used for that quite well, whereas a 2 megapixel camera is more or less pointless in today's day and age. The other cameras are actually quite different. The main camera on the Xiaomi 11T Pro is their flagship 108 megapixel sensor, and the OnePlus 9RT has a 50 megapixel main sensor. Now, both of these companies have been using similar sized cameras on their phones quite a lot. So OnePlus has been using the 50 megapixel camera quite a lot, The OnePlus 9RT does have optical image stabilization. The Xiaomi 11T Pro does miss out on optical image stabilization, but does have a lot of room to create a digital stabilization, which it manages to do with the 108 megapixel sensor. The secondary camera, the ultra wide, is a 16 megapixel on the OnePlus 9RT and is an 8 megapixel on the Xiaomi, but the cameras vary quite a lot, and the one other edge that the Xiaomi 11T Pro does get is the 8K video recording feature that the OnePlus 9RT does not have. You also get 4K 60 on both of these devices, but you do get a wider variety of video formats on the 11T Pro. So despite there being a few features that edge out the Xiaomi 11T Pro, the phone actually starts at a lower price of $39,999, and then there are some offers that will allow you to save some more money. Whereas with the same spec, the 8GB plus 128GB OnePlus 9RT starts at $42,999, and again, you can save some money by using some offers or whatever. The 11T Pro does offer up a more compelling spec sheet, but which one will you choose? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and would like us to do more of these, comment below and let us know that as well. Also, don't forget to smash the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not already a part of Team iGyaan, along with the bell notification icon to get notified each time we upload a new video. This has been Bharat. You've been watching iGyaan. I'll see you guys in the next one.